Well, welcome to Soundcheck. We're here in the studio for Visual Radio Arts, and in the studio today we've got Paul Parker and Pierre Shepherd.
Hello.
And we'll be performing tonight. Paul, you're a local singer-songwriter. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Right, been in Frome for about 30 years. I've been writing music, probably for the last 20 years, something like that. But the music that I normally write is library music, which I was chatting to you about before.
Right, okay. Library music's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
What does that entail?
Library music is like music for TV and radio and things like that. So anything you see on television where there's incidental music in the background, that comes from a library.
Right, okay. So
company.
you basically put it into a library for...
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
With a publisher, and then if a TV company, for example, is looking for some music, then they'll contact the library, and if your music's suitable, it gets used.
But you've decided to go up a gear and put your own stuff out directly to an audience.
Yes. Yeah.
You sing. We've just seen you warming up in the studio. You sing as part of your act. Did your library music involve vocals, or? Sometimes,
yes, but it's often kind of pastiche. For example, I did a 60s track which was like quite cheesy and had loads of sort of doobie-doos and things like that, and I got my wife to do like an octave higher. So, but nothing sort of. It's all silly singing, really, you know.
Or more like scat singing than...
Yeah, kind of, yeah, and sometimes a bit of backing harmonies, but no vocal, no kind of lyrics or anything like that, no. So that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this, actually, because it's an outlet for it, you know.
And how did you sort of step up? Because library music, I guess you're basically doing solo with occasional help from the family.
Yes.
How did you step up to decide that you would actually put your own music directly out there?
Well, I've always written songs for many years, but I never really kind of quite knew how to approach it. Actually, it was Pierre that got me going.
I was going to say, Pierre's no stranger to these studios.
Yes, he said to me, you know, Paul, if you wanted to go out and do your songs, I'd do them with you. So that's kind of how it started, and we took it from there. And Pierre's sort of like, you know, does the bass and keyboards and moral support and stuff like that.
Yeah, moral support's important. Believe me, moral support's important. Yeah.
Takes the mickey, of course.
Well, he's well known for that. Yeah. So, this history of music, library music for about 10 years.
Yeah.
How much further back than that? Did you first pick up a guitar 10 years ago?
About 1970.
Right, okay.
My parents bought me a guitar in 1970 when I was about 10, and it was a Broadway, which you'd probably be familiar with those. It's like a solid neck and body Japanese thing. And I just looked at it for 3 years. I hadn't a clue what to do with it, and because, you know, I never had lessons or anything like that, and you used to plug it into the record player. My parents had one of these big sort of teak record players, and you'd plug it into the record player and it just crackled away, you know. So it started from there, really, and then I think songwriting kind of emerged probably like, God, I mean, really slow. I mean, 10 years after that, probably about 1980, tentatively, and then I think my first serious-ish song was probably about 30 years ago, and I made a stab of trying to get into the music business back then, and kind of didn't really. You know, I got cold feet and withdrew again. So, yeah. And
then presumably a lull because your library career only goes back 10 or 15 years. So.
Yeah. Well, in between, actually, in the 90s, I played at Centre Parks for 7 years as a duo with 2 guitars. And I
holds
sang.
the record for the longest gig, doesn't it? 7-year gig.
Yeah, it was a good gig, that was, yeah. So it was twice a week there.
So that's sort of the land-based equivalent to doing a cruise liner.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it was ideal because it was just literally 10 minutes down the road, and you know, it was great. It was good fun.
Good.
Yeah. A lot of singing. It was 2 hours like every night, you know, for twice a week. So good experience, really. Mm. All covers, not much original stuff.
Well, that's the sort of thing the Centre Parks gig would demand, I guess, is it? Yeah. Now, you say as a duo, you weren't both half of the duo.
I wasn't what?
You
sorry?
weren't both halves of the duo, 2 guitars.
Oh no, 2 guitars. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and then the move into library music. That's I can see it's a career move, but it's not one that most people would think of. It's not an outlet most people.
Well, it happened. Actually, the guy that I used to play at Centre Parks with, Tim, he actually moved out the area, and the Centre Parks thing just stopped. And I thought, because he used to do library music, that's how I got to hear about it. And I used to do stuff with him. I helped him out on a few occasions. So I thought, I might give it a go. And just slowly built up tracks and sent them off to publishers. So it sort of started through working with him, actually.
Right, okay. And was that in parallel? Were you still writing your own material? Obviously, you were writing your own library material.
Off and on, yeah.
But you were still writing songs of the type that you're going to perform for us later.
Yeah.
In that period.
Yeah. There was a handful of songs, probably wrote about 10 years ago.
Right.
Very different from the stuff I'm doing now.
Right, okay. And what's your inspiration when you come round to writing a song?
Gosh.
Do you have a cue, or do you have a phone call, or do you read a book?
It can be all sorts of things, really. Sometimes it can be hearing a song just out the blue, and you'll hear a section in it, and you think, oh, that's good. And I'll sing it into a phone or something like that, and I'll build something around it. And then what you end up with sounds nothing like what you heard in the first place, but that's kind of how it works. Okay. Sometimes it can be a vocal line.
I was going to say, because an oft-asked question is which comes first, the tune or the words?
There's no rule to it with me. It's one or the other, you know. Sometimes it can be messing about on a guitar, even a bass line, actually. Sometimes a song can come about from a bass line. Loads of ways.
Okay. And how did you meet Pierre?
Oh gosh, was it something to do with our other halves?
It was.
Like Parent Link or something like that.
Probably.
I think Sandy did Parent Link, didn't she?
Yeah, she probably made me go to it as well.
Yes, our other halves did like an antenatal class or something, didn't they? So this was like 25 years ago. Yeah. But we haven't really sort of been friends all that time, though, have we?
No,
we kind of got to know each other more like 15 years ago, I think, through music. There's the various kind of acoustic clubs and things like that.
Yeah.
There used to be one in the Cheese and Grain, didn't they? That was really good.
Yes.
That Nick and Caroline did.
The Granary.
The Granary, yeah. And we played in different bands, and then we ended up sort of joining up, didn't we?
And you were playing drums when I first met you.
That's right.
So how long have you two actually been playing music together rather than meeting?
6 months. Is it 6 months? Not even that
Probably
long, I don't think.
6 months, yeah.
On and off.
This current stuff that Pierre's helping with me with is about 6 months, yeah.
Okay, but no particular history of you working together before?
No, I mean,
Not really.
I met Paul, and I think he writes really good songs, but he doesn't particularly
From what we've heard in the warm-up, yeah, I'd agree, he does.
He doesn't particularly like performing them. What he's got is, for a really good knack, I've got a friend of mine that can do this. You can ask him to write, well, let's just say Oasis, 10 Oasis songs, and he will write 10 tracks in that style. For the library as well, you don't have to do like 3.5-minute songs. It's just segments, like I say, because it's incidental music. And in fact, we tried, was it about 3-4 years ago when you came around when I first injured my back, and you had lots of tracks, and I just said, have you got any lyrics to these?
We had a false start with this, didn't we?
Yes.
Again, it was like probably 3 years ago now, that, and I think you said, if you ever want to do some of your stuff, I'd be happy to help out. And we tried, and I got cold feet.
Okay, that's great. Right, well, we're going to wind up shortly, let you finish your tea, and then get you out live at 9 o'clock, for everybody who's watching now. 9 o'clock, Paul Parker, with supporting musician Pierre Shepherd, will be out live at 9 o'clock. So thank you for talking to us, and let you help yourself to the tea and biscuits, and we look forward to hearing from you in about 25 minutes.
Thanks, Patrick.
That's great.
Yeah, thanks,
a lot.
Patrick.
Thanks.
Thank you.